Google's always tried to maintain an apolitical front, but a recent leak tells a very different story, and if true, it outlines Google's executives' pick for president in the 2016 presidential elections.
Most people here are pretty upset and pretty sad because of the election. I certainly find this election deeply offensive, and I know many of you do too.
This is none other than Sergey Brin, Google's co-founder, and if his assumption that every worker in the video was a Clinton voter was upsetting, it gets worse.
That was the first moment I really felt like we were going to lose, and it was really painful. It did feel like a ton of bricks dropped on my chest.
And that right there is the chief financial officer of Google's parent company, Alphabet, Ruth Porat, holding back tears at the thought of their election defeat. But whose defeat exactly? Last time I checked, Google wasn't a wing of the Democratic Party. Nevertheless, they seem to have a mutual understanding on why Trump won.
Xenophobia, hatred, and a desire for answers that may or may not be there.
Here we have Senior Vice President for Global Affairs, Kent Walker. Looks like despite Google's claim to objectivity, Walker's got some pretty partisan views on American politics. But Google maintains those are personal views, ones that don't affect their product.
One individual, Abneoff Vadrevu, described as a former Twitter software engineer, was captured on video saying the following, quote, "One strategy is to shadow ban, so you have ultimate control. The idea of a shadow ban is that you ban someone, but they don't know they've been banned because they keep posting and no one sees their content. So they just think that no one is engaging with their content, when in reality, no one is seeing it." Is that a practice that occurs at Twitter?
No, sir, we do not shadow ban users.
No.
That's something we're working on. I mean, I don't know, it's something we're working on, where we're trying to get the shitty people not to show up. It's a product thing we're working on.
A lot of unread world, and being that we're in San Francisco, we're in California, very little state, very blue state, you have to be, I mean, as a company you can't really say it because it'll make you look bad, but behind closed doors, a lot of stuff was like, hey, you have to do this way, or something like that. It was never written, it was more said.
Does Twitter target certain political figures for suspension? And more importantly, why?
Oh, it might be the U.S. government pressure.
What?
Yeah, they do that.
They do?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they don't like people messing with their politics. And he has shit on a lot of people.
Wow. He said the U.S. government would have done that. Would have asked Twitter to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get requests from the government to make
I've heard talk that it's a good thing because they'll use it to ban like Trump supporters or conservatives. So I didn't know if like that's just a rumor or if that's true.
That's a thing.
That's a thing?
That's a thing. Yeah.
Just go to a random tweet and like just look at the followers.
Yeah.
They'll all be like guns, God, America. Like
Yeah.
with the American flag and like the cross.
Yeah,
something.
no one really likes America. No.
Like who says that? Who talks like that? It's for sure a God.
Can you get rid of them?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
You just lead them, but like the problem is there are hundreds of thousands of them, so you've got to like write algorithms that do it for you.
How do you know if it's a bot and not a normal person?
Oh, you use machine learning.
It's like it's like an algorithm that you write where like you can like look for things, right? So like if there's like people who are like American guns, can you like write an algorithm to just take all those people out?
Oh yeah.
Do you do that?
It's actually how we do it. Yeah, it's pretty close. You should be an engineer. You're really good at this shit.
Every single conversation is going to be rated by a machine, and the machine's going to say whether or not it's a positive thing or a negative thing.
Yeah, you look for Trump or America, and you have like 5,000 like keywords to describe a redneck, and then you look and you like parse all the messages, all like the pictures, and then you look for like stuff that matches like that stuff. And like if it, so like you assign like a value to each thing. So like Trump would be like 0.5, like a picture of a gun would be like 1.5, and like if it comes up, the total comes up above like a certain value, then it's a bot.
Like majority of the algorithms are against conservatives or liberals?
I would say the majority of it are for Republicans because they're all from Russia and they wanted Trump to win. So
you'd mostly just get rid of conservatives?
I knew that. Yeah, it was in my.
I hope you'll bear with me here. This video is going to be a bit different than the others. One of the reasons I started down the content creation path was the longer-term goal of finding a few generous benefactors via Patreon and similar means to assist in the launching of a few projects, with the aim of helping to reclaim the internet from this rapidly encroaching censorship and social engineering being so aggressively pushed by Silicon Valley and their financial backers. Due to my lack of self-promotion skills and unwillingness to turn my videos into billboards, as well as some creative algorithmic trickery on the part of YouTube, it's been slow going. But I expected it would be. These things take time. However, after the events of the past few months, with several voices on the right of all types being banned from major platforms for wrongthink, it's obvious something disturbing is happening at an exponentially increasing pace. And I don't think we have the luxury of waiting any longer. So, what I'm about to propose is the immediate development of a new social media platform. I'd prefer to be the organizing force behind its creation, in part because I've worked in tech and have some relevant experience when it comes to both project management, as well as creating the all-important algorithms that'll act as the engine behind the scenes, and in part because I'm a bit controlling when it comes to the implementation of a creative vision, and would be obsessive about making sure it was carried out as well as it could be. But if that isn't in the cards, I'm okay with this. At this stage, I just want to give voice to the idea, and quickly, as a first step to get the ball rolling. In case I'm hit by a bus tomorrow, the idea will be out there, and seeds will be planted in our collective consciousness as to just how such a concept might take shape.
We print our mission on the inside.
What?
Oh,
my
really?
God, the inside of the hoodie, everybody. Take a moment. What is it? Making the
world more open and connected.
Oh my God, it's like a secret
Cool.
vault. Look at that, making the world open and connected, stream graph platform, and this weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati.
I don't claim to be brilliant, but I do claim to have given this topic a great deal of concerted thought over the past 2 years. Turning it over in my mind, zooming in and out, attempting to consider it from all angles with regards to both the short and the long term. But because thousands of minds are better than one, part of the goal here is to ignite discussion and debate, and plant some seeds that hopefully go on to bear some worthwhile fruit down the line. I had stopped listing my Patreon or any other means of contributing several videos ago, as I'm trying to do my level best to convey a compelling message, and I couldn't help but feel it's somehow cheapened by requesting donations. Because this video is an exception, I'll list these links below, and this will be the first and last time I request support from anyone in a position to do so that wants to help. I'm only able to justify this request to myself because 100% of anything I take in, outside of what's used to put food in my belly or keep the lights on in this Spartan cabin in Washington, will be used to fund these projects. Fighting this larger battle by any means at my disposal is my driving force in life, and has been since my realization of just how bad things have become, and just how much is at stake. If I don't resonate with you, please consider supporting someone that does. When we do things like pay our cable or Netflix bill, or buy a newspaper, or purchase movie tickets, we're handing our money directly over to those actively working against us, and indirectly perpetuating their propaganda machine in the process. If we're seeking to change the media landscape, we need to change this dynamic first and foremost. And in fact, this is one of the main goals of the idea I'm about to share. So enough preamble, let's get down to business. I think we're all aware that certain forces are seeking to push the internet down the same path as our controlled press, and for the same reasons, turning it into a highly controlled and compartmentalized means of social and psychological engineering, in which only certain points of view are allowed to be voiced, and those with the nerve to think and speak independently are banned, blocked, or algorithmically silenced, and simultaneously herded into smaller and smaller internet ghettos to ensure their opinions don't reach the wider world. Even more nefarious, and something many of you might not be aware of, they then make use of bots and AI, and even paid operatives to intervene in these ghettos, sowing discord and infighting, demoralizing, creating controlled opposition figures to hijack the energy and inertia of various movements or causes, and generally muddying the waters or derailing discussions. This type of behavior started in earnest around the election with organizations like Correct the Record and ShareBlue, and not only did it never cease, it's actually increased in scope. There are even foreign nations that employ thousands of their citizens in an attempt to control the narratives across social media and informational resources like Wikipedia. This isn't just my opinion. I've seen several documents and discussions from establishment think tanks and political action groups outlining a long-term vision and plan of action. Their goal is a fully controlled internet, in which the establishment point of view is the only acceptable view to express. And they've made incredibly efficient progress towards making this happen. It's been infuriating to watch, and what's been more upsetting than their actions has been our response to them. In short, we've done almost nothing to counter this practically criminal overreach. As somebody that grew up in the Wild West days of the internet, who can remember the magic of true freedom online, the thought of losing that forever and watching this most powerful of all tools be slowly morphed into a means for the most corrupt members of the merchant class to more efficiently control and manipulate, to create a soulless strip mall and indoctrination center with tour guides to direct us down prescribed paths and block our way down others. This isn't a future any of us should be willing to accept. There's simply no excuse as to why roughly half the nation would sit by silently as the other half monopolized control of the most powerful communication tool of our age. When half of a debate is squelched, the other side eventually wins by default, and culture shifts accordingly. If we don't find a means to be able to communicate freely, to hear one another and be heard, we'll be allowing deeply corrupt individuals to hold a monopoly over our information stream. And generations to come will pay an extremely steep price for our negligence. I think the time for playing reactionary defense is over. It's time to create our own platform. One that not only fosters true freedom of speech and expression, but just as importantly, one created with the foundational premise of seeking to cultivate a healthy and enriching user experience, as opposed to being merely addictive. Existing platforms were designed from the ground up to exploit known weaknesses in human psychology, and are essentially the crack cocaine of the internet. They often leave us drained, angry, depressed, and feel like a waste of time, and yet we're wired to come back for more. Study after study shows that they're having a net negative impact on our lives. And it's no wonder these platforms were essentially designed to harvest our data, with the secondary motive of selling us products and services. They perform these tasks well, and fail miserably on all other fronts. The platform I'm about to describe will aim to be fundamentally different and objectively superior in every quantifiable metric. Imagine having several like-minded friends fetching your morning paper for you while you sleep, proceeding to cut out only those articles you're likely to find most interesting and informative, TiVoing only the small handful of news or entertainment bits you're most likely to enjoy, scouring the web to find only those tweets and articles and comments you'd most want to read, then labeling and organizing it all before presenting it to you when you wake. This is analogous to the power of community working together, coupled with truly well-tuned algorithms. So first, the broad strokes. Number one, the entire platform will act as an investment market in which every group, user, or piece of content can be invested in, allowing us to use our collective judgment to ensure quality over quantity, incentivizing both good behavior and communication. Number 2, your data will not be provided to third parties ever. Your data is your own and will only be used to tailor and customize your user experience on the platform itself. Number 3, not only will the platform be free to use, but all income from advertisers outside of site operation costs will be distributed directly back to users according to their contribution to the community. Number 4, there will be no ideological or political censorship of any kind. Only blatant spam or illegal content will be removed, and this process will be handled by users themselves and be immediately reversible if a piece of content was removed in error. Number 5, there will be 2 communities, an outer circle open to the general public, and a more feature-rich inner circle, which will be invite-only, as a permanent means of avoiding subversion and cultivating higher caliber discussion. Number 6, the inner circle will allow for the creation of subgroups, independent from the main community, which can be created by any member at any time for any purpose, which will be granted their own meritocratic reputation scoring and unique data feeds. The outer circle will be a forum similar to Reddit in functionality, in which anyone can sign up in seconds by providing an email address, username, and password. We'll seek to implement the best features of existing forums, with the aim of striking the balance between powerful simplicity and intuitive features and functionality. The majority of this discussion will be about the inner circle, which will provide far more features and be operated in a meritocratic fashion, with the most trusted and reputable members having additional visibility and power across the site. Let's start by tackling these points one by one. Firstly, the investment market concept. The proposed platform would be driven by a scoring mechanism, an arete score, which is a Greek term for which there is no precise English equivalent, but meaning something akin to excellence or character, or virtue or nobility. Every member, upon being invited into the inner circle, will receive 1,000 arete points, which they can then use to invest in any subgroup or user or piece of content that they feel is a net positive to the community, anything they believe should attain greater visibility. A member is free to invest as much or as little as they wish, and they don't lose the arete that they make use of, but rather their arete score merely represents a maximum they can spend at any given time. If the entity they've invested in becomes popular and well-liked, and is in turn invested in by other members, this initial investor gains arete accordingly. This incentivizes members to use keen judgment, and allows us all to boost the visibility of quality, and hinder the visibility of lesser quality. A piece of content that is heavily invested in becomes more visible across all members' data feeds. A subgroup heavily invested in causes all of the contributions of its members within the group to be more visible across the entire community. And a user heavily invested in sees his personal arete score climb, giving him not only greater visibility with regards to his posted content, but also greater weight in any community decisions or polls, as well as more capital to invest, and is allotted a greater number of invites to new members. The main community, as well as each subgroup, will have a hierarchy of values displayed on its main page. This list of values will act as a code of conduct of sorts, helping guide members' behavior and investment habits, and any member can add a new value at any time, with the resulting hierarchy being dictated by an ongoing meritocratic vote, with only the top few being displayed. Decisions on whether to invest in a piece of content, for example, should largely be based on how well it represents these values. Members can earn arete by posting content, or flagging, or labeling, or investing in the content of others, or simply by earning direct investment of others by being a decent human being. Secondly, your data will quite simply never be shared, full stop. Such data collection and usage is far more than just an invasion of privacy. It's becoming a national security threat and a profound danger to our future. I hope to cover this in a future video, but the implications of the extensive data profiles being created on each and every one of us are far more weighty than anyone might imagine. and we need to stop feeding this machine immediately. And perhaps even find novel ways to inject it with junk data in the future. Thirdly, I'd like this platform to aim to bring on like-minded advertisers, those who support causes like true freedom of speech, to allow us to begin keeping our money in-house and end this crazy practice of helping fund our own destruction. There are many such companies out there, several of whom have been locked out by the Amazons or Googles and YouTubes of the world. As they approach us and as we seek out others, a meritocratic vote can decide which we bring on and which we keep out. And all commissions earnings from sales on their products and services will be paid out to users based on their AREIT score, sans site operating costs. This amount may start small, but could quickly become significant, especially for those on the higher end of the AREIT score bracket. Also, keep in mind all ads run on the outer circle also contribute to the inner circle payout, providing us further incentive to cultivate an enjoyable and active public forum in the outer circle. Fourthly, there will be zero censorship on political, ideological, or hate speech grounds. Only violations of law, or spam, or things like pedophilia or doxing will be removed, and these will be handled by inner circle members whose flagging results will be tracked. Those with the highest accuracy of non-overturned flags will be awarded significant AREIT for each flag. Those with the lowest accuracy will earn nothing and may even lose AREIT for each flag, with the worst offenders being blocked from further flagging. Any piece of flagged content will appear in a purgatory section, where members can challenge the flag and open it up to a meritocratic vote if necessary. If the flag is overturned, the content is restored, and the flagger receives a slight penalty. If upheld, the offending party is given a warning for the first flagged piece of content, and steadily increasing AREIT losses for each successive offense. Any attempts to bully our platform into censorship by organizations like the SPLC will be pursued to the fullest extent of the law where applicable. No threats to our right of freedom of speech will be tolerated. Fifthly, the outer circle will be open to the public at large, and can double as a recruiting ground for those seeking to invite new members to the inner circle. The inner circle, in addition to its own forum feature, like the outer circle, will have 4 other data feeds. Firstly, short form posts, similar to Twitter and Gab. Secondly, long form posts, similar to minds.com or medium.com or /dot, allowing submissions of article or blog type format. Third, multimedia content, allowing submissions of any video or audio content, from YouTube-like creations to music to podcasts to narrated audiobooks and everything in between. In short, any multimedia content created by the member themselves. Fourth, linked content, a category encompassing any content that resides elsewhere, whether this be multimedia content, an article or study or scientific paper, an interesting or novel website, any link that leads to content outside of the platform. These data feeds will be powered by advanced algorithms geared towards customization, seeking to provide you with only that content you're most likely to appreciate, based both on your own past behavior and preferences, as well as that of other members most similar to yourself. These algorithms will become stronger and better tuned with the passage of time, as your every input throughout the site will be used to further improve your user experience, as well as those of other members. AREIT scoring, user payouts, the aforementioned 4 data feeds, and several other features soon to be mentioned will all be exclusive to the inner circle, a benefit of membership. Sixthly, any member wishing to create a niche environment for any reason may create a subgroup, and in the process can construct its own ground rules. These can serve a wealth of purposes. A specific ideological subset may wish to have a community all their own, with their own AREIT hierarchy, their own data feed presenting only submissions by other group members, and can even choose to make this private if they wish. A well-known YouTube creator might create a channel to post his content directly to his followers and have discussions with them. Another example of a novel usage of a subgroup let's say a handful of members grow tired of the Russian collusion narrative and create a subgroup solely to produce a powerful counter-narrative. They could share their best relevant materials via the 4 subgroup data feeds and begin to work together to craft a single article or video comprising an efficient collection of the most convincing of these relevant materials. Let's say their finished product is a well-written article, which then attains significant popularity in the main community, causing the subgroup to be heavily invested in, as well as the members involved, all of whom gain in reputation and visibility across the platform. One of the most intriguing uses of subgroups might be the establishment of independent media. And these ideas are just the tip of the iceberg. There are limitless possibilities, and any subgroup that ends up producing value will quickly increase its size and visibility as a result.
Here you have an American company incubated in America by Americans under the protection of American law and courts, which is now working to undermine the most sacred of American rights, which is the freedom of expression. Yet the Congress, which is run, by the way, by Republicans right now, is doing precisely nothing about this. When you ask them, they mumble something unintelligible about free markets and get back to designing another tax cut for companies like YouTube. Meanwhile, the rest of us who live here, the ones who still care about free speech, are left to fend for ourselves. The big digital monopolies demand that we conform to their worldview, and they shut us down when we dissent. They have too much power. They are a threat to this country. It is time to complain while we still can. But YouTube isn't the only politicized part of Google. In an internal memo written by Google, revealed by James Damore's lawsuit, managers are told to avoid rewarding people for following the dominant, quote, white male culture of America. Aspects of that culture, the memo said, included the meritocracy, belief in objectivity, and individual achievement.
A few other structural elements of the inner circle to go over. The main hall. This is where all members will start upon logging into the site, and the center of all activity. All members may post here, and the 4 data feeds here will contain content from all main hall and subgroup submissions, which the algorithms will seek to customize and tailor according to your expressed interests and your history of activity in general. The debate hall. Any members and subgroups can freely challenge one another to friendly debate. The creator of the debate gets to set various ground rules, such as number of responses for each side, time limit for responses, if any, character limit per response, etc., as well as whether the debate will remain public or private. If public, the end result can be voted upon by other members, creating a hierarchy of historical debates to enjoy. I'd like to highlight the importance, both to the members involved in the debate and those who vote, of debating for the purpose of reaching truth or learning something new, as opposed to simply winning through dialectical tricks or aggressiveness. We're here to improve one another in an iron sharpens iron fashion, not destroy one another. The petition hall. Any member with any concern, comment, or idea on how the platform might be improved in any way can submit this to the petition hall to be read and voted upon, if necessary, by the community in a meritocratic fashion. This will be the driving force in the evolution and expansion of the site over time, and will aim to implement these changes in a sequential order based on the amount of support from the community. Absolutely anything relevant to improving the platform can be posted here, no matter how drastic. The polling center. Any polling question can be asked and answered via meritocratic vote here, and polls will remain permanently displayed with their visibility dictated by their popularity. This allows us to ask important questions and keep polls open to receive responses indefinitely. Also, members are free to submit their own answers if they don't already exist in the multiple choice options, with the end result being an informative list of answers that can act as a permanent information resource in many cases. The news feed. This is an intriguing element. This will aim to be a 24/7 news feed in which the linked articles are freely voted up and down by members in a meritocratically weighted manner, based on both its perceived importance and its quality. News stories from any site, organization, or individual are allowed. So while this feed may start out displaying the usual culprits, Fox News, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, so forth, it allows for the replacement of these news giants with independent content, in a survival of the fittest type fashion. Before long, we could have our own proprietary real-time news feed that's both more independent and more informed than the corporate news media, ideally with equal or greater professionalism and timeliness. And this could even spawn an app to replace the poisonous feed of information from our 24/7 phone alerts at present. The Hall of Fame. This will be a simple listing of the highest scoring content of each of the 4 types of content streams across the lifetime of the site. A drop-down box will allow a user to select any subcategory or label, for example, humor or politics, to see only the top-rated content of a specific type, if they wish. Purgatory. As described previously, this will be a quarantine section for illegal content or flagged content, and provides a means for any member to ensure no unjust censorship ever takes place. An additional note about a REIT score: every member will be incentivized to focus on their strengths, meaning if a user is proven efficient at labeling other users' content accurately, he'll receive higher REIT rewards for each piece of content he labels. If a user has proved far better than average as far as judging content, he'll earn slightly more from his investments in content. Same with content creation, or flagging, or any other type of activity. The better a member is at a given task relative to the norm, the higher their average reward will be for engaging in that task. Inviting new members also falls into this category, with the cost of each invite varying according to the average contributions of the members you've invited thus far. You'll also gain or lose points according to the behavior of all you invite, encouraging members to use some discretion here, and aim for those individuals that'll likely be the biggest net benefit to the community. What I appreciate about this structure is how much open-ended freedom it allows for in terms of encouraging creativity. One user might decide to produce an ongoing series of videos or articles on a subject they know and love. Another might decide to produce audio narration of classical works of literature. Another may start a daily news network. Another may start a book club. Another a movie club, focusing on old cinema from a pre-indoctrination age. Or even host watch parties in which members all watch a movie simultaneously and can discuss it in real time. And if the public responds positively to any of these pursuits, the posted content or subgroup will become more and more visible across the community, and real income could be earned as a consequence. More than anything, I want this to be a true community, a place where we can feel at home, where the gate is shut to those who'd wish to subvert or demoralize or derail, and the rest of us are incentivized to give one another our best and work to create a healthy and happy community, and eventually be compensated for doing so. And finally, my secret wish for this platform is that it'll provide the more active among us with the weapons to go out and drag back to sanity those individuals that remain locked in the Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and mainstream media illusionary world before they're too far gone and it becomes impossible to communicate because we're no longer speaking the same language. One way or another, I hope you'll join me in this. I'm not yet 100% certain of the best way to proceed from here, but at the very least I hope to ignite some active discussion. I had wished I'd had enough time to find the capital to fund this myself, but I've failed in that respect. So as I see it, we're left with the option of seeking a significant individual investor or two, or crowdfunding. I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on this topic, as well as how we might reward any investor that stepped forward. So please provide any ideas in the comments section or reach out personally. Lastly, if you're interested in helping this construct take shape, as you use sites like Steemit, or Medium, or Facebook, or Twitter, or Reddit, or Gab, or YouTube, or DTube, or BitChute, or Slashdot, or anything similar, try to pay attention to the features and functionality, or even aesthetic elements that you like most, and which you dislike, and bring them to the fore for discussion. I'll be watching closely and soaking up the context. As we speak, nearly every megaphone and soapbox in the public square is controlled by those that seem to want us marginalized, muzzled, and eventually phased out entirely. I think it's high time we work together to change this dynamic and stopped playing reactionary defense. Shall we?